Hello, my name is Mikael Nordfors. I'm a medical doctor, mystic, writer, musician, composer, and many more things from Sweden, currently living in Tanzania, Africa. And today I'm going to talk about the difference between organs and organisms. And this is one of the symbols of my big spiritual teacher Martinus, who lived from 1890 to 1981. I met him the first time, actually, I think it was 1977 or 79, and I gave him a hug. And then I asked a peculiar question, because I had just met my first wife, Karin Sjöström, and she was very interested in astrology. So I wanted to ask Martinus, is there anything about astrology? And then Martinus answered to me, that you will find out yourself. Okay, I thought, I have to do that. And then I didn't think so much about that. And then he gave me a message later the evening, and he thanked me for the nice hug sent a man to me. So I think that was like a little pointer from a little very humble pointer to me, that I should find out something. And now I did that. And this is one of his symbols, and it's called the principle of life inside of life. And he means that everything is life inside of life. And I can describe the symbol here. You can see this is a life unit, and inside of that life unit is a similar life unit that consists of smaller life units, and etc., etc. And there's no end in there's no in the microcosmos and no end in the macrocosmos. Here is the original description of the symbol. The universe is an infinite unit comprising an all-embracing being, namely God. God consists of all existing living beings. These are organized as life within life. This means that every being is both a macro being, which provides living space for micro beings, and a micro being which gets its living space from a larger macro being. In this way, all living beings are vital to one another. And here comes the main details of the symbol. The triangle and the white section in the middle symbolize the I and its superconsciousness. The area around it symbolizes its physical body and its consciousness. You can see it here. I can go back. So here you can see this is the superconsciousness, and this is the physical body. And you can see the physical body consists of smaller units, etc. The repetition of smaller and smaller versions of the symbol shows that the living beings' organisms are situated within living beings' organisms. Our physical body is living space for our organs, which are in turn a living space for our cells, which form the living space for even smaller microbeings, and so on downwards for all eternity. Similarly, our physical body is a microbeing in the organism of the Earth, which is a microorganism in the organism of the solar system, which is in turn a microorganism in the Milky Way, and so on upwards for all eternity. And this is another of a symbol called the spiral cycle. And you can see here are the different levels. Here is the mesocosmos, where we are, and we will develop into spiritual worlds, the real human kingdom, then into the wisdom kingdom and the divine world and the mineral kingdom, and then start a new evolution as plants, animals, etc. And there's no end. So all these different levels are related to each other. And here's the description of the symbol. All living beings form part of an eternal organic cooperation that is organized as a spiral cycle. In every cycle, the beings experience a movement from darkness or ignorance to light or cosmic consciousness and love, and thereafter on to new experiences of darkness and light in new spiral cycles. Every new spiral cycle is experienced as a new variation. Every living being is a macro being that provides living space and life conditions for micro beings in spirals below them, at the same time as it as a microbeing itself gets living space from macrobeings in spirals above it. The main details of the symbol. The symbol represents 7 spiral cycles, you can see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The one in the middle, marked D, symbolizes the cycle that we ourselves are situated in, and that constitutes our mesocosmos. That's the one here, in the middle. The spiral cycles A to C constitute our microcosmos. That's these 3. And the A spiral, the C spiral symbolizes our organ beings, the B spiral our cell beings, and the A spiral the microlives that are described as substance or matter. The spiral cycles E to G constitute our macrocosmos. The E spiral is the domicile of planets, the F spiral contains the solar system, and the G spiral the galactic system. Here we can see it. So here is the planets, solar system, and the galaxy. And there is no end in upwards and no end. The spiral cycle continues infinitely in both the macrocosmos and the microcosmos. But after I got some experience similar to Martinus, with lots of visions and seeing the whole universe and could see the secrets behind everything and getting lots of inspiration all the time, I noted one peculiar thing about Martinus' theory, and that is known that there are billions of galaxies out there, but galaxy organs like black holes, nebulosas, there are not so many. There are billions of solar systems in the galaxy, but planets, less than 100, only 10, something like that. Depends on how you define a planet. That's like an organism, there are billions. And organs, we don't have so many organs, the liver, kidneys, less than 100. Cells, we have billions in the body, but organelles, the mitochondria, the cell nucleus, the cell wall, it's not so many. Molecules, we have billion in every cells. But atoms, not so many that constitutes a molecule. So there seems to be a pattern where Martinus describes it. Every second round in the spiral cycle is like an organ spiral, and every second round is an organism spiral. So what is the difference between organisms and organs? That's the $1 million question. Then this is the definition of a living being according to Martinus. It has an inner core that is one with God, the ability to experience, the I. And then it has ability to create, and that is the so-called talent kernels, and they are located in, it's called X2, and that's what survives all death and everything, and brings our experiences from lifetime to lifetime and from spiral to spiral, and governs the universe. You can say that this is the enlightened part of us that interacts with all the other X2s to create our destiny. And then we have the physical bodies and the spiritual bodies. We have 6 different bodies. And this is the instinct body that is predominant in the plant kingdom, the gravity body that is predominant in the animal kingdom, the feeling body that is predominant in the real human kingdom, the intelligence body that is predominant in the wisdom world, and the intuition body that is predominant in the divine world. And then we have the memory body that is predominant in the mineral kingdom. And every living being has a destiny. So what we send out towards God comes back to us. That's one of the principles of the universe. And what we have also are part of eternal development. You can see here, this is the karmic bows that comes back, and as our compassion grows from suffering, we don't have to receive all the bad karma. But that is another, we had many lectures about that. The typical feature for a living being is also that it can multiply. For in the animal kingdom, so it can multiply. We can make children, cells can divide and multiply, etc. Liver cells can divide. And then we can see a very important difference between organs and organism. For example, a liver cannot multiply. You cannot get married to another liver and get liver kids. There are only a few, and it doesn't have billions of people to interact with, to create a destiny with on the same spiral cycle. And I would say this is the proof that organs are not living beings. They don't fulfill the criteria for living beings. They don't have an X1, X2 and X3 and all the different spiritual bodies connected to them. They are more created things. So we must make a difference between a created thing and the creator. So for example, I can make a hammer, and the purpose of the hammer is to nail. That is the purpose of the hammer. And I can also make a liver. The liver is made with the help of my instinct body that's building it up in the womb when I was a child, and it maintains all the bodily functions. And that was programmed in my previous spiral when I was an intelligence genius and programmed the whole next evolution. But the liver is not an organism. It cannot experience life, it cannot send out karma, cannot receive karma. It is a created thing, just like a book or a car. A car is not a living being, even if you can watch the movie Cars on Walt Disney, but that's not connected to reality, and that is fantasy. So created things are not living beings, the creators are living beings. So my conclusion is that there are only galaxies, planetary systems, organisms, cells, molecules, and maybe elementary particles below her. So what about the Earth? Martinus made many symbols saying that the Earth is a living being. Then Earth is only an organ in the solar system. There are only 10 planets. It's not millions of planets in one solar system. Was Martinus wrong? Is these symbols errors? Did he make such big errors? That's very embarrassing for Martinus. And I will try to explain that. That was very hard for me. I've been thinking very hard. It was a very hard mystery to solve. But I think this is one of my masterpieces, together with, in cooperation with the Christ energy and God, of course, the Holy Spirit. So, from a materialistic view, we live in a solar system where the sun is in the center and the planets are circulating around it. Therefore, we call it solar system. But when you get cosmic consciousness, everything gets turned upside down. What you thought was right before is almost always wrong. And that is true also about the solar system. The solar system is not the solar system, it's the planetary system. From the point of mass and materialism, the sun is in the center. But from a spiritual view, the consciousness is in the center. And the consciousness is upheld by the earth. So we are a planetary system, an earth system. And then you can say that the earth system is gaining cosmic consciousness. And we are learning how to handle the earth system. And then the old astrological view is more true than the astronomical view, where you see the earth as the center, and you can see how the stars, how the planets are moving around in the zodiac, and that is influencing what has happened to the cells. That is signs of different movements in the earth system or the planetary system. And that's how astrology works. And now I can, of course, make this deeper. But there's a little hint what Martinus told me I would find out. And I had been working hard on this one, but it took one day. And so the correct view is the old one, that Earth is in the center, because consciousness is in the center. Just like when we look at our body. Our stomach is much bigger than our head, but the consciousness is centered around the head. And here you can see how our body can look from a microcosmic view, and how the head is the center of the wisdom energy. This is the organs, the lungs for the feeling energy, the stomach for the explosion energy, the genitals for the intuition energy, and the bones for the memory energy, and the feet for the instinct energy. The instinct energy is everywhere, running the body, you can say. So, the organs can be affiliated to different basic energies, but they are still only physical beings. They're not beings, but they're physical manifestations of the spirit and the spiritual bodies behind the body. And the body communicates with the spiritual bodies through the DNA that is actually like a scalar wave detector through scalar waves. There's no research indicating this. So the DNA is on the cell level is like a piano, and but someone has to play on the piano, and that is done by our spiritual bodies, especially the instinct body, who communicates through the DNA with this. And that's how we differentiate all our cells. So there is no clue where is the anatomy book in the cell, in the DNA. There is no anatomy book there. There's only about certain proteins. And of course, if you have a DNA damage, if you have a bad piano, you cannot play so good. But you have to be a good pianist also. And that's an analogy as a musician. I used to say this. And this way we have solved the problem of organs and organisms. So organs are not living beings, but manifestations of organisms. And now we have to redefine. The spiral cycle is still valid. The principle is right. Martinus did nothing wrong. He was not just so well educated in cell biology and in physics, astronomy. And we can forgive him for that. He made such a fantastic contribution to human knowledge. And the principle is exactly right. But I think there are only 5 cycles you can perceive. So we have to remove the planetary cycle and the organ cycle from this picture, and then it will be correct. My name is Mikael Nordfors, and you're welcome to come and visit me in Tanzania and book sessions with me if you want. I just put... And you are welcome to book a session with me, or call me or contact me if you want to come and visit me in Tanzania. I try to build up a spiritual community and a shelter where you can escape from the big tribulation and the Third World War, which I had many visions is coming very soon. And I'm located in a very safe place on 1,400 meters of height near Kilimanjaro, with perfect weather all year round and very good circumstances for agriculture and self-sufficiency when society will collapse, which I think it will do quite soon. So you're welcome to come and stay with me here. Thank you very much for today.